everyone. Welcome to the FFL Limitless weekly training. Today we have our very special guest, Miss Sheila Day, who is an absolute beast and one of the most consistent people that I know in this business, in the life insurance business in general. So, Sheila, thank you for getting on today. Go ahead and give us a little bit of Miss Sheila Day's background, how you found insurance, what you did before.
Gotcha. Well, first of all, Nina, thanks for having me. So my name is Sheila Day, and I originally came to insurance. This is my first venture into the insurance industry. I came from the beauty industry in corporate roles. So many layoffs over those years. And finally, with the last one, I decided to take severance and do something, be my own boss, do my own business, and not have to worry about that again, because interviewing for your job over and over again gets kind of exhausting. So now so now I do my own thing and I love it.
That's awesome. How did you find FFL? Were you online? Were you on social media?
It was actually online, probably Indeed or LinkedIn. So one of those recruiting platforms of some sort, just going through looking for, because my background's in social work, but I had also been in sales. So really this for me locked in both of those. I get to help people every day, but it is sales as well. So it was just kind of the best of both worlds. And I had a conversation with Jordan Lowry and John Lowry, both very early on. And just realizing that their call was so very different than the other insurance sales type calls.
Yeah.
It wasn't about the hype. It was about helping people. It was about helping me to become and do what it is that I wanted to do and become, and not about hypey sales and promises and that kind of stuff. And I'm a very real, just down to earth kind of person. I'm not about the hype. So
yeah, I love that. Okay, so on that first initial call with Jordan and John, they told you obviously you needed to pass your insurance exam, and they told you that you needed to invest in leads. So tell me a little bit about that. Did you have fear in the back of your mind of like, oh crap, I need to start investing in leads, like I need to kind of pay to make money? How did you feel about that?
Well, I think if this had been my first stint in having any kind of self-employment experience, I probably would have been really freaked out, honestly, because I'm not one to just really like it. That's hard, but I think that it helps, to relate to it, because I knew that my husband had built his business and I knew what we went through there. And I knew the other side of things, like what it could become. So by the time I had that conversation, I was in a place where I was like, just tell me what I need to do and I'm going to go do it. And they did, and I did. But I think for new people coming into the business, I have that conversation with them because of that. I want to make sure that they realize that that is a reality. You do have to invest money to make money. And whereas we don't have this huge upfront cost of storefront and all of that, that's our investment that we have to put in to move this business along. So, but it's very small in relation to starting other things.
Absolutely. And it's the fuel to our business, really. Like I remember the first insurance company that I worked with, I was at, a 30% comp, which is crazy to think about, right? But I had free leads. And when people give you or offer you free leads, they're not leads that are requesting insurance. Like there's absolutely no way, because those types of leads are actually, you have to pay for. So these leads were basically it's as if someone were to request a free hamburger and you have to go in and upsell them on this very expensive hot dog. That's what it seemed like. And with that, we had to collect referrals, and it just felt super, super sleazy in a way. Can you talk a little bit about the different leads FFL has to offer and how high intent they are?
So I love the different leads, and we have such a variety and so many different cost levels. so when somebody has an significant amount to invest versus someone who may have a smaller, there's something for everyone.
Mhm.
And I think we have anywhere from the leads that just came in this minute to leads that are months old. And I think that there's so much quality in all of them. It's just finding they're all people, and everybody's at a different point at the time in which you call them. So you've got the leads that are going to be ready to talk to you at the time, and those instant leads that are ready to go when we call them. But then there's the people that weren't ready to go when other people were calling them, and you can purchase those later, and they may be several months old and nobody's gotten a hold of them, or they're still needing that insurance, or they have insurance that's not the quality of insurance even that they should have. So there's still potential to help out more families that way. But I love the ease in which it is to just go in and have those leads in a CRM ready to go. You just pull it up and you can purchase the leads, and instantly you can start making those phone calls.
I love
So
that.
that's
And it's, we have leads for agents basically in every price range. I mean, there's some agents that come in with a lot of time, Sheila, but with, they don't have as much money saved, or they don't have as much money
right.
to invest into the business. So starting them on a more affordable lead is the way to go. Versus then we have, agents that come in with very limited time, but they have a lot of money to spend in leads. So we're pushing them towards higher quality leads, which we have those options too. So
Right.
it's super exciting to have that. Let's talk about the first time you bought leads. First off, when you started, we were all in person, face-to-face sales. So talk a little
Yeah.
bit about your first week, if you can remember, in the field, buying those leads and going in there.
I can definitely remember. I still talk about it to this day. So I started in January in the field, as far as field time, January of 2021. And yes, we were still in the field going in homes. So we dialed on Mondays and Thursdays. But again, I followed the process. So Jordan and John, I think at that point it was probably Jordan. We had our lead conversation, and then it was I bought leads, and I dialed the phones just exactly the way he told me. My first lead investment was $750, and I bought the leads, and I went out, and I can remember thinking I dialed the phones all day long. Wasn't that good? Only got 4 appointments. I mean, spent all day, but I was at it from early in the morning till late at night, because I was like, it's either dial all day or get the appointments and be done. So that first day, I remember dialing all day long. I got 4 appointments, and I went out, and my first appointment, we pivoted to every company alive. I mean, it was just crazy. Then my second appointment, I walked, and then he decided he didn't want it. So then I'll go into my second appointment after having my conversation with Jordan. I go into my second appointment. I walk in. It's an elderly lady with her daughter, and the daughter wants to make sure they get this insurance in place to take care of her. And I just remember thinking, gosh, I hope that they answer when I call, right? I hope I have the help, because I don't even know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But she was, it was her and the daughter that was in the room, and 2 daughters on text that we were having this conversation with. The premium was paid for through the owner's account, through the insured's account, but all of those daughters went in to make this happen. So and that policy is still in place today. They're great family. I love talking to them. But they went in and they made, so I come out of the appointment, and I have my, we always did like an afterwards call, regroup and see how it went. And I call, and he goes, okay. So Jordan says, well, how much did you make? And I'm like, well, I don't know. I was like, how do I figure that out? He's like, he said, well, you take the monthly premium, and I'm like, well, what was the monthly? He said, what was the monthly premium? I don't know. Where do I find that? I can't
Ah,
remember. I know it at the time, can't remember. So he
yeah,
walks me through, to find it in the app, and I tell him, and he adds it up, and he tells me the amount. And I mean, I was just like, what? And
probably
what that
mouth
meant for
drop.
me.
Yeah,
And I was like, I did what? And
yeah,
when, you know, just the day before, I was thinking, first of all, I was thinking I only got 4 appointments, so I felt
yep,
like I had like failed the test.
yep,
And then I also felt like, oh my gosh, are they really going to be in the home to help me? And
yeah.
absolutely they were. And even today, it's the same way. There's always people there to help you.
Absolutely. Well, I love that. So you definitely made your money back on your initial lead investment and some, and you were
Yes.
able to keep reinvesting into leads. And then one thing about you, Sheila, and Hayden and I always talk about this. If there's someone that's willing to help anyone on the team, it doesn't matter if they're directly working with you or if they're on another team, you're always willing to help no matter what. But not only that, you are one of the most consistent people on the team. Like clockwork, every morning you're the first to get up and get on the phones, and you know when you're getting off, and you're just very consistent. Talk about that, Sheila, because a lot of people, if there's one thing people lack, it's the consistency. And even if you have a bad week, which you've had, everyone has a bad week and it's okay,
Mhm.
you're right back at it. So talk about how you develop that mindset and what really helps you day to day go into every single day.
Well, being totally transparent, I am like this naturally. Like this comes naturally for me. But that being said, I do think that it's huge. The consistency is huge because the activity is huge. And knowing what you're going to do and waking up and knowing what you're going to do every day is big. So for me, I know Monday through Friday that I am on some mindset. That's after I've gotten up and done my workout and all of that kind of stuff. But I get on the phone or get on the dial team
Yep.
at 6 a.m. And so I have time to prepare my mind, do some training, and then I'm dialing typically between 7 and 7:30 for Eastern time.
Yep.
So I start around 7:30 dialing, and then I will dial and or do trainings. There's a few trainings that occur throughout the week. And I'm generally on the dial team from 6 a.m. to 4 or 5 p.m. every day, Monday through Friday. And then Saturday, the only difference is I start an hour later because the world starts an hour later on weekends. I just
So
feel like,
true.
you can only call somebody so early on a Saturday morning,
Yeah.
right? But and then I do, as far as the dial piece of it, I do generally about a half day of dialing on Saturday. So all in all, it's about 5.5 full days of dialing, and then outside of that is my time to do. I have a couple times a day where I do recruiting messages, talking about adding some new things to that structure actually for this quarter, doing some things, getting out beyond these four walls
I love
a little
that.
bit.
Good
So
for you. Good for you.
looking forward to that too.
Yes, that's growth right there. And I think like that's a
Yes.
thing, Sheila. You're willing to do what it takes. Like every day, whether you make a sale or not, you're doing the same thing. It's 6 a.m. to about 4 or 5. It's weekends, you know what time you're getting on, you know what time you're getting off. And the beauty of this business is that activity wins every single time. And I've experienced like
Every time.
on the selling side of things, I've experienced like, okay, I have a full day of appointments and I don't sell anyone. And then the next day I maybe have another full day of appointments and I don't sell anyone. But that third day, something magical happens where you just pop off a bunch of sales. And if I
Yes.
quit after the first day, or if I quit after the second day, I would have never gotten the results that I did on the third. And then this business, it's like, yes, you can have a bad day, 2, 3, 4, maybe a bad week, but you'll never have a bad month as long as you're putting in the activity week after week after week. So that's something that I appreciate about you, that you really have just nailed down and you're so just structured with it. And you know, you've helped a lot of people within your organization kind of have that same structure as well.
Well, and I think too, it's the perspective of it, because like you said, over time, you can't, the activity is going to prevail, and you can't, um, you can't give up too soon, because the end is in sight, and the more persistent you are, it's going to work out. You're going to figure out your niche and your flow, and what works for you. And everybody, that looks different for everybody, and everybody's schedule looks different. Like, many people are morning and evening, and many people are afternoon and evening, but it's the consistency of it. And it's also about being willing to become uncomfortable and do thing, and being willing to work outside of that box.
Yeah.
So although my time is 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., if somebody needs to talk to me at 7 p.m., then I make that work. It may, certain days I do that kind of thing. So you make that work. And then, as far as being outside of the box, it's about, learning trying new lead types, trying new, even insurance types,
Yeah.
whether that be, IULs and annuities and mortgages,
Yeah.
and you can get comfortable and not want to, break that mold, but we stop growing. And that has been, I think I made a post even this morning about how September was such a learning experience for me, because it truly was. It was such a growth experience to go and do some different things, and be able to provide even more for my clients, as well as learn and grow myself, and be
Absolutely.
able to take that back to the team.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. It's like, I think that everyone wants what's easy and what they know, right? And that was the same thing for me, Sheila. I started this business doing final expense, and I knew final expense like the back of my hand. And then as soon as someone said, "Hey, start running mortgage protection, just build up your premium or build up your profitability a bit more," I remember going through 40 presentations and I did not sell one. And it was such a
Oh,
learning
wow.
experience, but I feel like that's what made me a better producer, because I was willing to fail and willing to learn. And getting beat up is really good for you. It really genuinely is. Let's talk about your transition to telesales, because you were in person when you started. Were you scared to make that transition initially?
Absolutely. I had a bout with remote when my husband had been diagnosed with COVID, back when COVID was such a big thing. I know it's rearing its head again, but my husband had COVID, so I had been exposed, so I had to take myself out for a bit. And at that point, it was all about that 2 weeks, And so I did remote for 2 weeks, just kind of on the fly. And oh my gosh, it was disastrous. And I was like, there's no way, I can't do this. This is why they tell me I got to go to the field. This makes sense now, because I actually came in wanting to do remote, and they're like, no, we don't do that. Okay, got it. Well, then when the remote thing became a reality, I'm like, okay, this could be really good for me, because I live in a small town. I was driving a lot. I was spending probably 5 to 6 hours a day just
Wow,
driving and getting from place to place. And so I think when I realized that the productive use of my time, if I could figure it out. So my mindset was, I may have to take a hit for a while
Yep.
to have the long-term turnaround, and have that ROI on the investment. So I did that. And once I made the jump, and it was a little rocky in the beginning, I was scared.
Mhm.
But I wasn't scared so much that it wouldn't work. I knew that if it didn't work, I could always go back to the field.
Yep.
There's always the option. That option still exists today. I think we've all gotten really comfortable about being in our four walls, but the option to go out and talk to people in person is still there.
Yep.
And I think knowing that was like, okay, if this really, I'm not going to let myself completely sink. If this doesn't work out, I got to change.
Yep.
And I think being willing to flex like that. But yes, I was totally scared, but in the end, it was literally the best decision that for me and my situation that I could have done, because get so much more productive time.
Yeah, I mean, you get to make more dials, talk to more people. And you don't have, I mean, you were driving 5, 6 hours a day, your gas expenses and putting miles on your car, like that's a lot too. And I agree that the virtual transition was equally like if so hard for me. Something in my head, like I just had always sold in person. And when people were going virtual, I just had that fear of like, what if I fail? And it was a learning curve. And it's like it is a little bit tougher because you're not sitting face to face looking someone dead in the eye and saying, hey, you need this for you and your family. But you have to kind of have that more intentional conversation over the phone. Let's talk about your presentation a little bit. You run a little bit of everything. What right now, what is your favorite lead to run?
So probably as far as my favorite, most comfortable is probably my platinum leads,
Okay.
about a month old.
Okay.
Um, because I fell into a really good comfort level with those. They answer the phone more often. They may already have coverage in some cases, but many times they don't. So I was already very well versed in working the final expense leads.
Yeah.
I did when I was in the field work some mortgage, but I had kind of gotten out of it when I went remote. So now I'm getting back into that, but comfort level wise, definitely the platinum leads.
Okay, perfect. Let's do a little bit of script training on the platinum leads. So, is your goal with every single presentation to try to one call close, or are you booking an appointment?
On those, I definitely try to one call close.
Okay.
The only time I would book appointments would be obviously if they're not in a position to talk and they're working or whatever, and I'll find an appointment time.
Okay, perfect. Well, let's say I'm a platinum lead. Let's give it a whirl.
All right. Um, ring ring.
Hello.
Hey, Nina.
Yes, this is Nina.
Nina, this is Sheila Day. I'm the field underwriter. I'm just getting back to you about that form that you filled out. Looks like you were looking for possible options, maybe some life insurance to protect you and your family. Were you just looking for yourself or for a loved one as well?
I was looking, it was just for myself.
Oh, okay, perfect. I'm going to send you my information, but if you can grab a quick pen and paper, I can get that information for you.
Okay. How long is this going to take me?
Well, what we're going to do is basically find out what options that we have for you. So maybe 10 minutes or so to do that. And then depending on where we go from there, a few more minutes to fill out an application if we decide that that's something that you want to pursue.
Okay. I have that pen and piece of paper.
Okay, perfect. Well, what I've already done is I have sent you a text with my name and direct cell phone number, but my name is Sheila Day. And then you've got my cell number there, starts with the 615. Do you see that text there?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I don't want to bore you with all the details. So, and then that link that you see there is actually a link to my license, as well as many of the companies that I work through to find the best products for you.
Okay.
So basically what we're going to do today, Nina, is just go through a few questions. Like I said, that insurance is something that you do have to qualify for. It's not something that we're just, okay, I want this and they give it to me. So we want to make sure that we can find the best options for you. Like I said, I do work with over 30 of the top companies. So looking for the best options. So I'm going to ask you a few questions. I've got your date of birth here as blah, blah, blah. Yep, that's right. Okay, perfect. And that makes you how young, Nina? Oh, okay. You're 25. Okay, perfect. I've got that down. Now, in terms of medical conditions, any heart attacks, strokes, mini strokes, cancers, or stents?
Nothing like that. Nope.
Nothing like that. Okay. Any diabetes, neuropathy, high blood pressure?
Nope.
No. Lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, asthma, COPD?
Nope. The only thing I take is just vitamins.
Okay, so just vitamins, no medications at all. And we're not in person, but I'm assuming you're not in a wheelchair, not on oxygen, no amputations, nothing like that then, right?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay, perfect. Now, what about in terms of your oh my goodness, I totally lost my train of thought there. I'm not used to doing this off the cuff. Let's see, where do I usually go with that? 1 second. Sorry. So you said no medications at all. Anything you're prescribed to take that maybe you're not taking?
No. Mm-mm.
No. Okay, perfect. And when you were looking at this, Nina, who are you kind of looking to protect? Who do you have, a spouse or kids, or what does
Just
that look like?
my little daughter. I don't have, I'm a single parent. I have a daughter that's
Okay.
2. I wouldn't want anything, for her. I want her to be taken care of when something happens to me.
Oh, for sure. That makes perfect sense why you would have been filling this out. So I've got a pretty good idea. I want to look at obviously things that are going to fit well for your budget too, though. So are you working, Nina? Are you
Yep. I'm working.
working part-time, full-time? What does that look like?
I'm working. I'm a preschool teacher.
Oh, fun. Do you enjoy that?
Yes, it's a lot of fun.
Oh, perfect. So what would you say, Nina, is about your monthly income?
Net or gross?
Just your take home, because that's what you would actually have to spend, right?
Oh, yeah. Let's see. I want to say about 3,800 a month.
Okay, so 3,800 a month, and I assume you get that deposited or do deposit for yourself into checking, savings, something like
Yep.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And then from there, you've got the 3,800. Do you have a home or do you rent?
I just rent.
Okay, so you're just renting right now. About how much does that look like?
About 1,200 a month.
Okay, so about 1,200. Okay, perfect. Any other major bills? You're still young. Are you paying off student loans or any car payments, anything like that?
I have my car's paid off. I don't have any student loans.
Oh, good for you. Good job. So looks like I can definitely go to work here and look. If you'll give me just a moment, I'm going to pull up some options and then we'll go over and discuss those options. Okay, Nina?
Perfect.
All right.
So from there, you're pulling up a couple different. Are you showing term, or what product would you show in that case?
At 25 and healthy, yeah, I'm probably looking at a cashback option,
Yeah.
and a standard term, and then possibly the IUL option as well. Just because she is young and there's no health conditions there, and she's got that 2-year-old child. And then from there, obviously, always asking about the rest of the family members because there's a 2-year-old child there.
Absolutely.
And a 2-year-old, whether it be, depending on budget, you you gave me a great budget, right?
Yeah.
You gave me a great spread, but it's not always that way.
Right.
But depending on what we're looking at there, is there an option for a children's whole life
Yeah.
or a child's IUL? Because what would that look like? And I mean, a 2-year-old, an IUL at $100 a month is going to skyrocket.
Yeah. I love that. So with that, let's say you wanted to give me or show me cashback option. Would you show me 3 options, or how many options are you typically presenting?
It does vary. I usually kind of run down the types of coverage and see what they're most interested in. If it's the cashback, if it's the having permanent protection and building that. I explained that an IUL has a 2 buckets: a death benefit bucket and a cash accumulation bucket.
Yep.
And then obviously depending on budget, so I'll either go with a different, maybe the same amount, and show those different types of coverages, or I'll go with, okay, we're really interested in the cash back, so let's give 3 options in the cash back.
I love
so it
that.
kind of depends on the direction of the call.
That's perfect. Well, Sheila, you absolutely crushed that. I think, I always like to kind of break things up in order. You introed the call with confidence and control. You asked them to grab that pen and piece of paper. You verified their information. You told them why you were calling, and you gave your credibility. And that's it. Like, people definitely trust you on the phone because of your confidence, tone of voice, and giving them that credibility. And then one of the main things is you asked me what my why was. Who am I looking to protect? And then that way, throughout the presentation, you're consistently going to bring up my daughter. You're consistently going to bring up how I'm looking to protect her. So you are an absolute machine.
Yeah. Well, and I think one of the things that I did do differently than what I did just then, when I kind of lost my train of thought, obviously, but I also typically find out what they're looking for and that why piece, that beneficiary piece, before I go into the health conditions and the why. And actually, so I did that part a little bit backwards, but yeah, it's all the same thing. And I think that's the piece is most important, is the confidence piece, because regardless of which order you add, is if you get all the information, it's about getting all the information, because then you can get the help you need, whether that's through an underwriting genie, managers, other people on the call team.
Yeah,
There's, as long as you can get the information, that's the most important part. And I feel like with like new agents, one of their biggest concerns is, am
product.
I going to have help when I need it? Just
Yeah,
like back to our original conversation of in the home, I pull in this driveway. Are they really going to answer my phone when I call? Are they really going to answer me, and they're really going to help me, because I'm out here by myself?
exactly.
Versus at least in the remote world, we have a whole team of people we can ask,
We
right?
do. And then,
So
especially being a
very cool.
part of the FFL Limitless organization, we have access to the underwriting genies, which, if you guys
Yes.
don't know what that is, you plug in someone's medical information, what medications they're taking, and it'll automatically spit out what carrier is best to go with. So instead of sitting there and wasting hours and days learning about the products, we have that as a little toolkit for us. But that was so good, Sheila. So we are wrapping up. Are we in quarter four yet? Or we're about to be in quarter four.
We're
And
today, girl, today.
that's exciting.
We're
So
starting it.
what are some goals that you have for yourself for quarter four, and then also all of 2023 or 2024?
Funny you should
What
ask
year?
that question. Funny you should ask that question. But my goal is to end the year at 300,000. My biggest year has been 215, and so I want to get over that 300 hump, and I'm gonna do it. It's gonna be a big push of 100,000 or so in the fourth quarter. But I can definitely do it. Like we talked about, the momentum of changing and learning to utilize different leads and getting your system down and structure has led to put me in a place where now I definitely can make that happen, and fully intend for that to happen. And then my team to be over that 500,000. We missed a 500,000 last year by like this. So we're not missing it this year. We're going to be over a 500,000, and 2024 is going to explode.
Oh yeah.
I'm so excited.
2024 is going to be huge. So, Sheila, for anyone listening to this, if you guys are looking at the life insurance industry or FFL, Family First Life overall, Sheila is a great leader. She pours into her team. She pours her heart and soul into this business, and it definitely shows, because you can see just her passion just through this call. So, Sheila, if someone wants to get a hold of you to work with you, what is the best way for them to reach you?
Best way is probably my cell phone, through phone call or text, 615-419-8304. You can also find me SDay FFL on Instagram and on Facebook as Sheila Day.
I love that. Well, thank you so much, Sheila, for getting on. This was one for the books. You absolutely crushed it. So we appreciate you.
Appreciate you having me. Thanks so much.